But we're really excited that you chose to spend some time with us this morning and to come to our training breakout. Training, I know, doesn't sound exciting or anything like that, but we believe that it is one of the biggest stepping stones to having a successful program, so that your scouts stick around and your family stick around. Because we all know if mom's not happy, nobody's staying in scouting, right? So we know that trained leaders help us to get our program running in a way that makes the kids be able to advance faster, to be able to be safe while they're having their programs, and to just have fun. And so that's why we ask everybody to be a trained leader. Now, there are a couple things to make you a trained leader. So everybody has to take youth protection training. And youth protection training is due every 2 years. And 2 years ago, we had to do youth protection 2. So that was required by all BSA leaders in the whole country. So it has now been 2 years and everything is starting to have to be retaken again. And people are needing to get that. So we are hoping that by having this and talking to you guys, that you will take it back to your units and say, hey, remember that this is 2 years after we took Youth Protection 2 and it's time to retake it. And guess what? We're all at home. So why don't you just open up your computer and spend a couple hours taking youth protection? And that way we can keep our youth safe, especially in this time where we're going through the bankruptcy and all these other things. If we can say we are 100% youth protection trained, that'll go a long ways for us when we're asking, you know, youth and families to join scouting. All right, so when you go to, okay, I'm gonna back up a second. There are certain people that need more training than others, and we are going to let our specialists talk about that. So take notes. In the chat box, you can ask us questions. We will be monitoring those questions. Some of them we'll just answer immediately in the chat box. Other ones we will make sure that we address publicly in front, you know, with voices and everything, so that we can answer it for everybody to understand if we need to talk about anything. On the Atlanta Area Council webpage, there is a training page, and it is full of everything you will ever need to know about what's going on in the Atlanta Area Council. We have a monthly calendar we put on there. We also have links to the national website. Pretty soon at the end, I'm going to put up my whiteboard that has a whole bunch of this information on it for you already. So make sure you visit that often, especially right now while we're going through this COVID-19 things. We have been changing training dates over and over and over again. So please try and keep up by visiting that. The next thing I'm going to say before I turn it over to our Cub training specialist is on May 9th, it's Saturday, a couple Saturdays from now, we are going to try our very first virtual training extravaganza. So yes, we really want to promote online learning that you can do through the BSA pages, but we just thought it might be fun to get together kind of like we are right now and do virtual training. We will be doing all the Cub direct leaders. We will be doing the Scouts BSA and some venturing ones. So we're going to talk about that as we go on. But thanks for being here. I'm going to turn the time over to Garrett Bailey for a few moments.
Thank you, Stephanie. Can you hear me? Fantastic. Well, this is a great time to take all of the Cub training online. It's long, it's wonderful, and we seem to all have a little bit extra time on our hands. So if you can get all the people in your unit to become trained leaders, this is the time. And so go into my.scouting.org and set up your training profile so that you can take this online training. We have Den leader training, Cub master training, and committee chair training for Cub leaders. Also, we have Baloo. Baloo's an in-person training. National will not let us do that virtually, but there is an online component to Baloo. So this is a great time to take the online portion of Blue, the online portion of, it's not online, it's always online, weather hazards, and keep those things current. I can't take Wood Badge virtually, but hopefully by the time Wood Badge comes around this year, it'll all be okay. So we need to motivate our units, the people in our units, to go to Wood Badge so that they can get that piece of the puzzle. The virtual training experience we were going to have at the Cobb County Safety Village is now going to be virtualized, and so that should be very, very interesting as well. And so we're looking forward to that. I think that's all I got. Please.
Ask a question.
You have any questions?
Actually, talk about, I'm covering my mouth. Talk about what the direct leaders are, who direct leaders are.
So direct contact leaders, that's a great question. The direct contact leaders are all of the DEN leaders, all the assistant DEN leaders, and basically anybody that's going on a camp out is a direct contact leader and needs to take YPT and the leader training. But your unit, as far as your train percentage, is only taken off of the direct contact leaders. That doesn't mean that the committee chair and all the people on the committee should not go take that training, because they really should.
All right. Done?
Anybody else?
All right, thank you, Garrett. Anybody have any questions about Cub training? Okay, now I will say Cub training is one of the most important trainings we do after youth protection
I have
training.
a quick question.
If we can get our leaders to be well trained when they are in the Cub program, not only does it help them to be better trained by the time they get to BSA, because it just adds a little bit all the time, Scouts BSA, but it also helps our families and our youth to want to stay in the program. So we really strongly encourage taking our Cub leader training, and that's why we offer it more than any of the other trainings as a council. We focus a lot on it. It's super important to us, but that doesn't mean Scouts BSA isn't important as well. So now we're going to let Lamar talk to us about that.
Stephanie, before we let Lamar talk, could we go to the chat? We've got a couple questions, might be a good chance to
thank you.
Answer those. So Julie's got the question first. She says, do lion and tiger parents need required YPT as they are in direct contact with all their DEN events?
So yes, we encourage all parents, period, to take youth protection training. And that's if they're going to be anywhere near the kids. If they're driving kids, if they are in the room with other kids, yes, they should have to take YPT. It's just to keep our kids safe.
Okay, and then our next question is from Vivian, and she asks, which classes will be held at the May 9th? I think she's referencing the training extravaganza.
Yep, so May 9th, we will have DEN leader, we will have Cub master, we will have committee chair, we will have Scout master position specific, we will have committee chair for Scouts BSA, we will have advisor and committee together for venturing, and ILSC for introduction leadership skills for the crew, and time management. So those are the ones that we will be offering on May 9th. All right, and then Julie, for finishing with the chat on that question, it's a challenge for us, so we'll make it a requirement. Yes, it is a challenge. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can get everybody to take it online, or this is harder, but sometimes it's easier depending on the situation that your unit is in. You can ask your youth protection champions in your district to come and do a presentation for all the parents in your pack. So that's the youth protection champions, and we can chat offline about that if you would like. Does that answer your question, Julie?
Stephanie, and also thank you everyone for attending the breakout. It's good to see everyone out and interested in scouting, particularly in the times that we're in right now. So what I'd like to do with the opportunity I have now is talk a little bit about Scouts BSA training. So as mentioned before, just as there's a training position, specific training for Cub leaders, the same is true for Scouts BSA leaders as well. So again, everyone should take youth protection training, Scout Masters, ASMs, anyone in the troop who has direct contact with scouts. And I also strongly recommend and encourage that parents also take youth protection training, really for two reasons. One, it makes them more available to become scout leaders. And so having youth protection training out the way helps that. Two, it helps them understand the requirements for why we do things the way that we do. Not only because, frankly, because of the bankruptcy and the concerns around, how we interact with our youth, but also so that they understand now that we're operating virtually, why I can't talk directly to their scouts, why we need to be careful about the way we conduct ourselves on group chat, and how we have the scouts interact with each other, and how we have scouts and parents interact with each other. So I find that youth protection training makes it so I don't have to continually remind and explain why we do things the way that we do, and everybody understands that. Talking more about Scoutmasters, Assistant Scoutmasters, any direct contact leaders, it's also important that everyone take hazardous weather training. Easter night was a reminder of that. It's good to understand what's going to happen with the weather before you actually find yourself happening in the weather. And then finally, just as there's Baloo for the Cubmaster side, there's ILS, which is Introduction to Outdoor Leadership for the Scouts BSA side. That has to be taken in person. Take advantage of myscouting.org. It has training courses for the rest of the position-specific training that's required for Scoutmasters, Assistant Scoutmasters, and any other interested persons in the troop. And then you can get the highly desirable trained patch for your uniform. I like to show it off when I'm out and about. With that, IELTS training, have it scheduled right now for June 27th and 28th, and then again in the fall, October 3rd and 4th. As you know, with the COVID situation, things are very fluid. So please continue to refer to the Atlanta AAC training calendar for updates to understand when we may have to change based on direction from federal, state, and local governments. There are a couple wood badge courses scheduled. One starts in late August, and then in September, and then another in September and October. Wood badge is an excellent opportunity to continue your scout training and to, one, interact with a community of other scout trainers and interact and get ideas, and also further your training to have a more effective troop and a better program for your scouts. Let's see, I've seen quite a few questions come through. When a scout that is not a registered leader wants to attend a camp out, is YPT required for that individual? Noting that the camp out is at a scout-owned property. Absolutely. Anytime you're going to have an adult or any adult at a camping activity, they need to take YPT. They are going to be subject to the same regulations and concerns as anyone at a camping activity. And it's important to make sure that everybody understands why we're doing what we're doing. And to be honest with you, with everything happening at a campsite, sometimes it's easy to forget. A scout has an issue, Scoutmaster goes by himself, and sometimes it's good to have someone else there say, hey, you need to have somebody else go with you to make sure we're having too deep leadership. So it's important that everybody understands what the regulations are. Let's see, CPR and first aid often are required for outing leaders. Yes. Let's see. One more. It's a report in my scouting that shows which parents have or haven't taken YPT. All we can currently see is training for registered leaders in our unit. Yes. So my understanding is that your parents will have to register with myscouting.org in order to have an account there, so that when they take YPT, there's a record of it. And then I believe if they associate themselves with the troop, then you should be able to see them. But Stephanie, I'm not entirely sure about that. So if you can maybe keep me honest there, I'd appreciate it.
Josh, can you answer that one as our safe scouting director? How, the easiest way for them to see if parents have actually taken it?
Yeah, so there is a report that they can run on my.scouting, and it's a process, and we can share that. There's a PDF that I'll share with the whole group via email, or however we're sending out the recap of this meeting. But yes, there is a report, and it's several steps, but it will get you where you're trying to get, and you can look at individual YPT status.
Thanks, Joshua. I see that Josh was asking a question about Baloo training. So training's
We'll
not
give that
available.
one to Garrett. We'll let Garrett do that one. Oh, okay. Garrett is frozen in time, so we'll come back to Garrett
It's great
on that
talking
one.
both, though.
But go ahead, Lamar. Did you have something you wanted to say while Garrett's trying to unfreeze? Apparently.
No. I appreciate the questions, and again, strongly encourage. As a troop and scouting leadership, like's been said, this is a great time since we're a captive audience to take a break from Netflix and get some training in. The videos are almost as entertaining.
Scout is trustworthy.
Scout is almost trustworthy. But it's good to get the training in, and then to encourage your other leaders and parents as well, as they see that that there's a program that's laid out for them. It just prevents reinventing the wheel.
Thank you. All right, so I do want to say something about first aid and wilderness survival and all these other classes. Yes, they are required for certain outings. We are working really hard. We've had to postpone these over and over, cancel them all spring, trying to help everybody get ready for their summer activities. We are hoping that we can pull one off at the end of May. So just keep watching and watching the calendar and for the Atlanta area training calendar and see if it's on there. But we're really hoping that we can pull one off at the end of May, so that if camps and everything opens up, that we are ready and we can just go in without having to play catch up. So I'm not even going to throw a date out there because it's so fluid. It's changed about 4 times this week even. So thank you for your patience with how crazy life is. I promise we spend so much time rescheduling lately. Is Garrett back on yet? Nope. So I'm going to go on, and when he comes back on, I've asked him to come back on. So hopefully he gets back on shortly and we can talk about Baloo a little bit, or I will do it. All right. So ILS, which Lamar talked about, ILS means Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills. And I know we talk in acronyms often, but it is required for all scoutmasters and assistant scoutmasters to have before you go out and you start doing fun things in the woods. You're supposed to be trained. All right, so you cannot do Baloo or ILS online. They have to be done in person. And look at the calendars, see districts do it. We do it once or twice a year as a council. It's also offered at summer camp. So look at the summer camp. If you're going to summer camp, take advantage of that. You're sitting around waiting for the kids to do their merit badges and all their activities anyways. Get out of your little campsite and go get trained. And it's fun. You don't have to pay anything extra if you do it at summer camp too. So that's right there is a bonus. I do not see Garrett back, so I will answer the Baloo question. Baloo stands for Basic Adult Leader Outdoor Orientation. That's why we say Baloo. So that is required for packs. Every pack has to have 1 or 2 people that are Baloo trained. We always say at least 2, because if the one person who is trained gets sick when you're getting ready to go on a pack camp out, or the whole pack can't go anymore. You have to have somebody trained. So we always encourage at least 2. There is nothing that says that 4 or 5 people in your pack can't be Baloo trained. So there is an online portion that you have to take and before you come, and then it's a day and a half of training, and it's really fun. We teach you how to cook and what kind of games to play with your pack and what kind of knots you need and first aid and knives and knots and just all kinds of things. It's really one of the most fun trainings you're gonna get to have as an adult leader, besides wood badge and powder horn, of course. Don't wanna ever taint those a little bit, but it really is fun. So we really, really, really encourage you to come do that. And camps, summer camps, sometimes Blue is offered during the Cub camp weekends at Bird Adams, but not always, but sometimes it is. So yes, and Vivian said that IELTS is taught as well as Scoutmaster and Troop Committee. Yep, so don't waste your time when you go to Scout Camp. Get some training done. All right, I want to talk a little bit about ILST, ILSC, ILSS. So those are all things for the big kids. ILST is Introduction to Leadership Skills for Troops. And then the C is Crew, and then the S is Ships. Now these are courses that should be taught by the Scoutmaster or the advisor or the, what do we call it, the captain? I can't remember what we call the ones for the crews. They should be taught in the unit. They're not always taught in the unit, so many times we teach it as, we teach ILST 3 or 4 times a year is our goal right now as a council to do it. We had to cancel the one in May because we can't figure out how to do it nicely virtually. So we will have it in the fall again. We had over 65, I think, show up to ILST at the University of Scouting. So it's a really important program. And the reason that these 3 are important, it not only helps them do their positions in their troop or their crew or their ship, but it also sets it up so they can go to NYLT. And NYLT is National Youth Leadership Training. And it is wood badge for the youth. So we really think that the best units, the most functional units, are ones that have wood badge trained leaders and ones that have NYLT leaders. They speak the same language and they can lead the unit together. All right. And then we encourage people to go to Powderhorn. And Powderhorn is for adventure. It teaches you all about how to be safe and how to do things that really aren't things that you think about often. They can teach you how to do horseback riding and scuba and sailing and all kinds of fun things that a normal troop just doesn't do. So we strongly encourage that. There is one more course. There is one course this year, only one course, and it is halfway full. So if you want to learn more about that, Mike Gullidge is the course director for this year, and Matthew Solhoff is our chair for Powderhorn. So those are really important. And wood badge, we have 2 more courses still coming up. Garrett Bailey is one of the people who is a course director, and Sylvia De La Cruz, who you probably saw in the general meeting, she is another course director still, and those are both in the fall. So check those out. And NYLT, we have 8 courses that we are trying to get done this year. We know that the ones in the summer, we're still up in the air. We're trying to figure that out. Hopefully we get a green light and we can continue on these, but we also have some in the fall. We have a November course that goes in the week right before Thanksgiving. And then we have another course that is between Christmas and New Year's. So they are popular because you're already home from school and you want things to do. We really strongly encourage those right now. If you aren't sure that you're willing to send your kids to summer, NYLT, look at the other ones. Don't let your kids miss out on NYLT training because of this COVID stuff. Let's try and make sure that we can put it all together and help them be successful. All right, so we really want to encourage everybody to do online training. Your position specific things are online, so do it. Encourage everybody in your unit. Just take a little bit of extra time. Merit badge counseling is on there, and that's a really big thing. Commissioner training, everything is online. The only position specific thing that is not online is our introduction to outdoor leadership skills. And you have to have the online portion before you can take that. So please, please, please push your online training. And then don't forget that we have our virtual training extravaganza on May 9th, and it's gonna be great. A skipper is for a ship. Thank you, Charlie. I knew I just couldn't remember the word right there. All right, let's look at the chats, and then I'm going to ask Josh to put on the poll and then see if he has anything he wants to share as our professional partner. All right. All right, so there is a poll that should be popping up. It's a feedback, because feedback is a gift.
It truly is.
Thank you for the one person unmuted. All right, Josh, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Just please fill out the poll for us. This will help us with feedback as we continue to do the program this way. And we also just want to thank you guys for everything that you do. And hopefully as people become more and more comfortable working in this way, we'll be able to do more and more training meetings virtually, and maybe even after we come out the other side of this, we'll find some efficiencies. And so we really appreciate you guys being our guinea pigs and doing all the great stuff that you do. Hope you guys have a great Saturday.
Thank you so much for joining us. Keep scouting. Be
Good
safe.
There's a question.
Oh, another question?
Yeah, about merit badge counselor training
Okay.
forms.
Oh, so merit badge counseling forms, that is I believe we can still do those online.
Well, I know my answer because I got it from Mark Capel. I'm just curious about with other districts, what they need to do, who they would need to send those forms to, because the forms are online and you can put a digital signature on them.
Yep.
It's just who do we get them to in other districts, or who do we get them to for people that don't know, to get them in the system?
All right, so there are a couple different things you can do about that. So you can set up a place that your DEs can help you with that, but there's also a drop box at the Volunteer Service Center right now. It's a lock box right out there by the front door, and you can drop things into there anytime you want, and they pick it up every day.
And know that we're working on a encrypted method where you should be able to soon send us stuff by email to a Dropbox that will be encrypted, so you don't even have to leave your home. So that should be coming hopefully next week.
That's excellent. All right. Thank you. Charity works with the advancement team. So that's one of her babies. All right. Anything else? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a happy Saturday. Keep scouting. Be very safe out there. We appreciate all you do.